Today, Senator Johnson and I will present our third speech on the Biden investigation series. Today, we will focus on James Biden, the president's brother. Hunter Biden wasn't the only Biden family member who had connections to the Chinese Communist regime. James Biden did as well. Before we begin our discussion, I think we need to mention the main company once again, the Chinese company that goes by the initials CEFC. In the first two speeches, Senator Johnson and I established the connection between CEFC and the Communist Chinese government. We established the connection between CEFC and Hudson West 3. We then established the connection with Hunter Biden's Owasco, Hudson West 3, and CEFC. We showed that Hunter Biden and James Biden actively assisted CEFC as it worked to expand its footprint and its holdings in the global and U.S. energy sector. And today, we'll add James Biden's Lion Hall Group to the list of Biden family companies connected to the communist regime. In my and Senator Johnson's September 23rd, 2020 report, we showed that Hunter Biden and James Biden and their aligned firms received approximately $4.8 million from Hudson West 3 from August 2017 to September 2018. During that same time frame, Hunter Biden's Owasco sent 20 or so wires to James Biden's Lion Hall Group. Those 20 wires totaled just about $1.4 million. The liberal media and our Democrat colleagues originally tried to claim that Johnson and my findings were Russian disinformation. Last week, the Washington Post reported the following, quote, over the course of 14 months, the Chinese energy conglomerate, here parenthetically they're referring to CEFC, and its executives paid $4.8 million to entities controlled by Hunter Biden and his uncle, according to government records, court documents, and newly disclosed bank statements, as well as emails contained on a copy of a laptop hard drive that purportedly once belonged to Hunter Biden, end of quote. The Post also reported this, so I start to quote. During that time period, about $1.4 million was transferred from Hunter's account to the Lion Hall Group, the consulting firm that James Biden ran, according to other government records reviewed by the Post. End of Washington Post quote. Senator Johnson and I were right 2 years ago. We knew it then, but it's been a long road to defend our work product. The liberal media and our Democratic colleagues aggressively tried to make the case that we were peddling Russian disinformation. Now, what will the liberal media and my Democrat colleagues say now in light of last week's Washington Post article that substantiated the work that Senator Johnson and I have been doing? We still haven't received any apology from our Democratic colleagues for their false claims against us these past several years. They haven't apologized to the American people, and I'm not going to hold my breath. When will the big-time media in Washington awaken to respect my reputation for the thorough investigative and oversight work that I do as a senator? And it's also my constitutional responsibility to do exactly that. Now, we have more records to discuss today. Today, Senator Johnson and I will show you financial transfers direct from Hudson West 3 to the Lyon Hall Group. In other words, in these transfers, Hunter Biden's Owasco isn't the middleman. So let's look at the first poster here. This is a January 2018 bank statement from Hudson West 3. Now, there's a lot going on here, so I'll just mention several items. First, we've got two examples of more wire transfers from Hudson West 3 for $165,000. The underlying wire data, which Senator Johnson and I will make public this very day, shows that money went to Hunter Biden's Owasco. That money was for the August 2017 LLC agreement, which, by its terms, saw James Biden become a manager of Hudson West 3. That agreement sent $100,000 to Hunter Biden and $65,000 to James Biden every month. Those transactions occurred after the $5 million wire from Northern International Capital to Hudson West 3 on August 2017. Northern International was connected to Yi Jinping, who was connected to the communist regime. Now, we explained all that in our second speech just last Tuesday. Second, this statement shows several examples of wires from Hudson West 3 to CEFC. As Senator Johnson and I have established, that company is an arm of the communist Chinese regime. This new record shows how closely connected Hudson West 3 was with CEFC, while Hunter Biden and James Biden received money from Hudson West 3. Third, we've got a January 17, 2018 wire to Lyon Hall Group. Now, that happens to be James Biden's company. James Biden received $18,000 from Hudson West 3. The same month, that company sent money to CEFC. Now, this is just one example of many. Accordingly, the official bank record makes clear the financial connections between and among James Biden and the communist Chinese elements. To the liberal media and my Democratic colleagues, is this the official bank record? Is that Russian disinformation, as you accused us of spreading. Now let's go to the second poster. This is Hudson West 3 bank record from April 2018. Here you see wire transfers from Coal Harbor Capital. That company was connected to Merwin Yang, who was an associate of Yi Jingming and Gong Wen Dong. Now, as Senator Johnson, as I have already established, all of them are connected to the communist regime. These are the players in the game that I mentioned in the first speech last Monday. And now we've established they appear repeatedly in bank records with high dollar transfers. These transfers aren't by accident. No way. There's clearly a scheme here. There's a plan among and between all these individuals and their respective companies, which then begs the question, has the Justice Department acquired these records? If so, what has the Justice Department done about these records? Now, moving to the next transaction, there's another $165,000 wire. Again, that relates back to the LLC agreement that connected Hunter and James Biden to the Chinese firm CEFC and its projects in the energy sector. Then you have a $34,000 wire to James Biden's Lion Hall Group from Hudson West 3. So what was this all about? Let's take a look then at the third poster. Now look at the sixth line from the bottom. I want to quote. It says, office expense and reimbursement. That's the same reason given for the first poster that I showed you. We'll make all of these records public again this very day. For those of you who may still doubt my and Senator Johnson's oversight work, I'm going to present one last transaction to bring all of this home. So look at the fourth poster. In my and Senator Johnson's September 2020 report, we found that James Biden and Hunter Biden went on a $99,000 global spending spree, courtesy of who? Another Chinese person that I've mentioned so many times in these three speeches, Gong Wen Dong. The spending spree included airline tickets, purchases at Apple stores, hotels, and restaurants. This bank record next to me shows a $99,000 transaction in September 2013 or 2017. But that's not all that we have. Let's turn to the final poster. This is number 5. This is a credit card authorization form for $99,000. So look at the bottom. There's the signature block with Hunter Biden and Gong Wen Dong. Now, to the liberal press and my Democratic colleagues, are these official records Russian disinformation? So what's the point of all these records? Not only have Senator Johnson and I illustrated through new records that Hunter Biden was financially connected to the communist regime, these records show James Biden was as well. These new records show direct financial links between companies connected to the communist regime and James Biden through Lion Hall Group. These new records support the findings in our report to the last Congress. Remember, those reports were put out in September and November of 2020. And everybody was saying it was Russian disinformation. Forget the facts. Forget the evidence. Forget the investigative journalism. The liberal media wanted to provide cover for then candidate Joe Biden. They did whatever they could to smear our investigations. With these new records, there can be no doubt that James Biden was financially connected to the corporations and individuals with extensive link to communist China, and that he and Hunter Biden were in it together, working to help a Chinese government-linked energy company pursue deals and expand its reach in the energy sector. Now it's Senator Johnson's turn.